In this lesson, we're going to learn about the find and replace feature that is in OpenOffice and any word processor. When looking for certain words in a large document, it is inefficient to go through every word manually. And each word processor has a find and replace feature that automates the process of searching for text inside a document. And in addition to just finding and replacing words and phrases, you can do the following things. You can use wildcards to fine-tune a search, which means that you stick in a character that takes the place of multiple letters. You can find and replace specific formatting, such as looking for words that are bold, or words that are italicized, or words that are the color red. And you can also find and replace paragraph styles, which we took a look at in the last document, or the last lesson. So to display the find and replace dialog box here in OpenOffice, we are going to go to Edit and then Find and Replace. And you'll see that next to the find and replace words, there it says Control F. That's going to be your shortcut if you choose to do that. So you could do Control F or Edit, Find and Replace. And when you click on that, it brings up the Find and Replace dialog box. And the first thing we're going to do is just do a simple find. And we're going to search for the word implement. So I'm going to type that in. Now you'll notice that I didn't worry about capitalization. If there was something that you really wanted to say, I only want to find words that have a capital I for implement, you could check this box down here that says match case. Also, if you have a fairly small word, like the word the, you probably want to say find whole words only. Otherwise, it would find words like there or then, any word that contains T, H, and E. So we have our word typed in here, implement, and I'm going to click the find button. And what it does, I'm going to move my dialog box here, it goes through and it highlights the first time that it finds the word implement. If I click find again, it goes to the second word, or second time that it finds the word implement. You'll notice that it says implementation. Here's an example of where, because whole words only isn't checked, it found part of the word in the larger word implementation. If I click the find all button, what it does is it highlights in my document every time the word implement is shown. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times the word implement appears. Twice it appeared in implementation. If I go back here and I say match whole words only and I do find all, you'll notice this time it's not highlighted down here because it's not the entire word. And we had another case of that down here in our heading implementation phase. So I'm going to uncheck that box. Alright, now we're going to take a look at a find and replace. Okay, this is great when you're working with a document that has names in it. You could write a letter to Mr. Byler and then later on decide you want to use that same letter and send it to Mrs. Smith. You could do a find and replace, and every time it says Mr. Byler, you could replace it with Mrs. Smith. So I'm going to take the word implement, and this time I'm going to look for the word concentration. And I'm going to replace it with the word emphasis. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a find. I'm going to find the word concentration. And I'm going to hit replace. And it replaces the word concentration with emphasis. So that's where that first one was. And then it automatically jumps to the next time that it finds concentration. And I can hit replace again. And it had replaced it again and gave me a little warning that says it's searched to the end of the document. Do you want to continue at the beginning? So we're going to say yes because we were halfway through. Went down through. Said no more are found. So I click OK. So every time the word concentration came up, I replaced it with emphasis. You will notice that there's a replace all button That's a good button to use if you're positive that every time that you see that word that you really do want to replace it. Use my example in the beginning. If I had done a replace all with the word implement, I may have got those two words implementation that would have messed me up. So just make sure that when you do a replace all, you really do want to replace every instance of that word. Okay, we're now going to take a look at how we can use the find and replace dialog box to find text that has a specific formatting. And you're going to notice in the find and dialog box we have a section down here in the corner that says more options. If I click on more options, I have a section over here on the right hand side that says format. So I'm going to click on that button, and I am going to tell the computer to look for everything that is Arial and bold. I'm going to click OK. Now, because I'm looking for formatting, I don't have to put a word up in this section to search for. So when I click find, it's going to find me the first instance that it can find that's Arial and bold. So I click find. First time it finds that is the title down here at the bottom, overview of process phases. If I click find again, it finds another example, and I can keep going through here and it finds each one for me. And I'm going to click yes, and it goes back to the beginning. Okay, so let's do a replace. So I'm going to click in the replace area. Now I'm going to click format, and instead of it being Arial, I'm going to say that I want to change every time that it's Arial in bold to Times New Roman in bold, and I click OK. So I click find, finds my first instance, I press replace, it changes the word phase from Arial to Times New Roman, and I'm going to do a replace all, and it says that it has replaced 10 items, and so now every time that it was bold and Arial, it is now Times New Roman and bold. The second thing that we can do with our find and replace dialog box, which is a more advanced feature, is to use wildcards. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of my formatting choices here. So I'm going to click in the find area, and I'm going to click the no format button, and I'm going to click in the replace area and click no format. Now, in order to use wildcards, we have to check this box that says regular expressions. And the first wildcard we're going to use is a dot or a period. And what this looks for is a single character. So I'm going to do A dot D. And that will look for any word that begins with A, has a single letter, and then ends with D. So I click find. And if I move my box here, you can see that it finds the word and, because that meets that criteria. First letter is A, middle letter is unknown, last letter is D. We can also do one with a dash, so I can do H dash S. Now what the dash does is it looks for a string of characters, a series of characters. So the dot says it can only be one letter, where a dash says it can be multiple letters. So I'm going to click find again. It says it can't find anything. So it didn't find anything that starts with H and ends with S.